Well, this is a domestic issue where obviously President Joe Biden is failing. Now, he's given an extensive interview in the last few days, and one of the issues there was an overseas issue, a foreign policy issue, probably the preeminent one in the world at the moment, and that is what's happening with China and Taiwan. And the president was again strident when it came to Taiwan. Have a look.
So unlike Ukraine, to be clear, sir, U.S. forces, U.S. men and women would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion.
Yes.
Yeah, so much for strategic ambiguity. Do you think, Kristin, that the president is deliberately talking tough on Taiwan, or has he kind of lost his notes about that strategic ambiguity?
Of course, it's not strategic. The White House actually had to walk that back directly after the interview. This president doesn't even know what time it is. I mean, this guy is not in control of his mental facilities, and it's becoming a real problem and national security threat for this country. With regards to Taiwan, I mean, yes, we do need some ambiguity in terms of our strategy there, but they're really not doing enough to defend themselves against the rapid threat of China. I mean, they're only spending 2% of their own GDP on defense. So this is a real problem that the United States needs to think hard about with our allies and be strategic about. And when we have this president who just keeps putting his foot in his mouth over and over and over, it just really puts roadblocks up to that kind of progress. And again, it's a national security threat. It's quite terrifying.
Look, in that same interview, the president, even though we haven't had the midterm elections yet, people are talking about whether he'll run for a second term. This, to me, is an inane debate. Let's have a look at what the president said.
My intention, as I said to begin with, is that I would run again. But it's just an intention. But is it a firm decision that I run again? That remains to be seen.
Now, Kristin, the reason I say this is an inane debate is because it's obvious he's not intending to run a second time. He can't, he wouldn't, he won't run for a second term. The problem is he just can't say that because as soon as he says that, he's a lame duck for the next 2 and a bit years.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard an answer like that from a sitting president. It's obvious he's not going to run again. The entire Democratic Party here in the U.S. wants him gone. This guy's totally ineffective. The only reason he won in 2020 is because he used COVID as an excuse to stay in his basement during the entire election cycle. But when you get this guy in front of people, he cannot deliver a speech. He has dementia, it seems like, at certain points. I mean, he's just not aging well, and he doesn't have the physical or mental ability to do this again and run for president. So it's obvious he's not running again. The Democrats' problem, though, is who will they put up in his place? Who are they going to run? And there really is not a deep bench of good, solid Democrats ready to step up and fill that void. Kamala Harris is a dud. Pete Buttigieg has been named as a potential running, as a potential Democratic nominee, but I just don't think he has enough experience or charisma. We've got Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. I guess he's a possibility, although he's not that likable. So yeah, the Democrats want Joe Biden gone, but they really don't have any strong candidates to replace him. So it'll be interesting to see who they encourage to get in the ring.
We might take up some of those issues next week, Kristin, because what's happening in California doesn't really recommend Gavin Newsom, but we'll get onto those issues another time. Thanks so much for joining us again.
Thank you so much, Chris.